How you feeling?
Uh, kind of in shock, kind of scared to be walking around the streets, but I guess we prayers go up to them and we figure out what ways we can be safer around here.
It's very tragic. My heart goes sa lahat ng nawalan, the casualties, especially I think the Ateneo community, yung security guard na nasawi. I think it's very sad. Ayun, I don't think I know much yet to form like complete opinions about it, but it's a very sad event all throughout.
Parang overwhelmed kasi para uh, it doesn't happen usually. So parang kami na-shocking kami because we're actually dormers.
I actually feel bad for the family kasi me also, I'm gonna graduate this August. So I'm kind of parang worried din of what might happen. Though that's not like school shooting naman. It's like a personal motive naman. So pero like what happened to the graduation na hindi naman nangyari. It's kind of sad na it's supposed to be a happy day for all of the students, but it turned out to be the other way around. So
It's an unfortunate change of pace. We're all feeling tight while we also all feel sad. Obviously, we're grieving with the community and we can't help but to think what's going to happen in the next few days. So it's just a mix of we feel sad, but we also feel it's the same feeling you get as if your home has been robbed. Yeah.
I feel very sad because one of our security guard passed away because of the accident.
Yeah, very sad. And because we know him, the guy who was shot.
I feel sad about losing a person that I knew, and especially under these circumstances, which was totally senseless. And I feel bad that he's leaving a wife and a baby, and he's well known. He's quite, everyone says he's a very friendly guy, and I believe that. And so I am really sad since last night. And I woke up at 3 o'clock actually, thinking about this. And of course, it gave you an insight that, well, anything can happen every day.
Can you please identify for us a rational fear and an irrational fear surrounding the situation? Both. I need both.
Well, rational fear is that he was able to go inside, like he was able to mingle around. And no one knew about it, and then suddenly shots were. I had some former students who were in that batch taking up law, graduating from law, and then they texted me yesterday. They thought it was like a shootout, like in a school in America. And so everyone started running. And then what is irrational to me, and I don't know what now I can distinguish, what is irrational is
Rational fears would be definitely like security purposes. Like how could a man with a weapon come in and on our campus? Irrational fears would just be like second guessing like people like who we find sketchy in a way.
Rational fears, definitely security. It did happen, so it would be irrational for people to be concerned about their safety. Irrational fears would be, for example, I would never put blame on our security guards. I think they've done what they can. So irrational fear would be to say na they haven't done enough. I think they've done a lot, and it took parang a heroic man's life.
Irrational fear is that this is similar to what's happening in other countries. So as you can see, or as you probably know, random shootings because of mental health issues. I think it's an irrational fear. I don't think we're at that point where there's a lot of disgruntled citizens who's just going to pull out their rage with guns on the school. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think it's a big cause of alarm. However, I do think it's a irrational fear that a lot of people who want to impose impunity on others can just do so. And it's also a irrational fear that the systems that we have in place probably did not expect that on such a situation, right? You'd have incidents like this. So it begs the question of how much preparation is enough, but it also it's surreal. I think it's rational to fear that under the current situation that we have now, uh, political killings is a normal thing. I think it's a rational fear that maybe in some other places in the country, other political heat might be resolved through violence. But I don't think that it's rational to conclude that we're gonna have some more indiscriminate school shootings from now. I don't think we're at that point yet.
Did you see that in this situation, that irrational fear?
Like now?
Yeah.
Yes, because of confusion. Because of confusion. So, because I was in the dorms when the thing was happening, we all thought that there was an active shooter whose motives were to just take as many lives as they could. But I mean, thanks to God that wasn't the case. But I do feel that it is an accessible, irrational fear for many now, given what we've been hearing in other countries. We're quite vigilant to know if it's already happening here. Yeah.
For me, the rational fear naman, I guess, since we're part of the Ateneo and we're actually inside while it happened, I guess, parang it's normal to feel anxious about it and siguro panic a little because that's gonna happen talaga. That's usually gonna happen. Yun lang, yung irrelevant side naman, yun nga, yung digital na ano, parang ang dami parang sausaw. So, ako, inside, I'm actually inside, pero wala ko actually alam. Pero others, ang daming, comments na parang, para saan pa? Yeah.
Involved. Sila pa, they have a lot more to say. Yeah, and sometimes saying too much is like saying less kasi parang it doesn't help much naman if you say too much na hindi naman kailangan. Yeah.
How important is it to be able to tell the difference between a rational and irrational fear?
I think it's extremely important because
If we don't have that, yeah, we will do irrational acts that it will be harm other people also.
It's easy to get lost in your parang emotions, pin the blame on people na aren't to blame.
You might act on something na hindi dapat.
It affects the culture, right? So if you're going to be prey to irrational fear, you're going to limit a lot of things that I don't think should be limited. Maybe policy is also guided by whether fear is rational or irrational, right? We don't want to see excessive tightening on the movement that students have just because we're fearing what we're seeing in other Western countries. But I do think that irrational fear, it's good to know the difference, but both is important to have a sobering thought on what we should do moving forward. Yeah.
What helps you tell the difference between irrational and rational fear? What's the best kind of way to know the difference?
It's a biased Atenean answer, but Ignatian discernment. The first thing to do, stepping back, noticing what you feel versus what is actually out there. It's something that this school has taught me over and over again.
it's extremely important because we gotta realize like which one's an actual problem and which one's just in our mind and just playing with our thoughts, and how we live our life like determines like how we judge those fears.